Welcome to Aura Recaps, where we recap the best films with cinematic aura. A televised interview features Dr. Alice explaining how her team altered the measles virus to eliminate cancer, calling the results a complete success and a medical miracle. In New York City, now empty and overtaken by nature, weeds cover the streets, cars sit rusted and forgotten, and vines climb the sides of skyscrapers. The silence hangs heavy until the distant growl of a car engine breaks through it. A man named Robert drives through the deserted streets in a car with his dog, Sam, beside him. Robert moves quickly, his eyes constantly scanning for movement or signs of life. A herd of deer suddenly darts across the road, and instinct takes over. He accelerates, gripping his rifle tightly as he chases after them. The pursuit winds through the lifeless city and into Times Square, where the deer scatter in every direction. Soon he spots one silently standing behind a building. Leaving his car, he approaches with Sam close behind. Robert steadies his aim, ready to shoot, when a lioness leaps out of nowhere and takes down the deer. He stops immediately, watching as the lion's cub and another lion emerge to feed. Knowing this hunt belongs to nature, he steps back quietly and leaves them undisturbed. Back at his fortified Manhattan home, Robert methodically locks several layers of reinforced doors and secures the metal shutters. His house runs on generators, and every corner reflects his careful preparation. As the sky darkens, he seals every window, turning the house into a bunker. Sitting beside Sam, he listens to the faint, distant screams that echo through the city as night creatures emerge. They stay silent, waiting for dawn. When morning comes, he wakes from a dream of him and his family fleeing New York as the outbreak begins.
30 minutes to what?
They're sealing off the island.
Robert follows his strict routine. He works out, eats a measured breakfast, and returns to his basement laboratory. There he tests his latest serum on infected rats, carefully noting their reactions. Most become violent, but one remains calm, showing signs of improvement.
Hold on a second. Compound 6 appears to be showing decreased aggression response.
He records everything on his camera before heading out again. The day is spent hunting, gathering supplies, and checking traps for infected humans. Every movement is deliberate, shaped by discipline and survival habits refined over years of isolation.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Later, he visits a dusty old music store with Sam padding beside him. Mannequins stand throughout the room, arranged to mimic a crowd of customers. Robert speaks to them casually, maintaining an illusion of normal life. One of them, a male figure named Fred, gets a small nod of acknowledgement before Robert collects a few items and leaves. It is his quiet way of pretending the world hasn't completely disappeared.
Morning, Hank. Midway through the G's.
Sometime later, Robert and Sam search an abandoned apartment for food and supplies. The rooms are cold and silent, filled with remnants of the families who once lived there. When Robert steps into a baby's nursery, he stops. The tiny crib and toys pull him back to memories of his own daughter. For a moment, he stands frozen in sorrow before forcing himself to move on. They later drive to the seaport, where Robert sets up his radio transmitter. He sends out his daily message, introducing himself as Robert Neville, declaring his immunity, and giving his location in New York City at noon every day. When the broadcast ends, he climbs onto a dock jet and plays golf from the deck, hitting balls into the vast emptiness, while Sam lies nearby watching.
I'm getting good.
Suddenly, Sam's ears perk up at a faint noise. A deer darts across the distant ruins, and Robert instantly reacts, jumping into motion. Together, they chase it through crumbling streets until it disappears into a dark, abandoned building. Sam runs inside before he can stop her. Panic grips him. He knows the infected hide from the sun in places like this. Still, he follows, flashlight cutting through the thick darkness. Blood smears the walls, and deep in the shadows, he spots the infected huddled together. His breath slows. Every step forward feels like walking into a nightmare. Robert moves carefully through the darkness, every sound echoing through the empty building. He steps back slowly, sweeping his flashlight across the floor until its beam lands on Sam, trembling beneath a table. Relief fills him, but it vanishes when one of the infected turns toward them. The stillness breaks with a piercing scream. Robert grabs Sam, shoots the infected, and sprints through the corridors, heart pounding as he dodges fallen debris. The chase leads to a shattered window, and he dives through it, crashing onto the street below. The infected follow, but are instantly consumed by sunlight, their bodies burning to ash as they retreat. Later, refusing to stay passive, Robert sets up a trap near a broken building entrance. He spreads his own blood across the pavement, using it as bait, then hides nearby with his weapon ready. Minutes pass in tense silence before an infected takes the lure, springing the trap that yanks it violently into the air. From the darkness, the infected leader steps forward, snarling and glaring in rage as its skin blisters under the sun. It roars before retreating into the shadows. Back in his lab, Robert straps the captured infected to a table, sets up his recorder, and injects it with a new experimental serum. The creature's pulse slows, and for a moment, hope flickers across his face. Then the infected convulses violently, its eyes snapping open as it fights against the restraints. The test fails again. Robert slams the table, his frustration spilling over as another possible cure collapses before his eyes. He logs every detail of the experiment through his recorder, documenting what went wrong for anyone who might one day find his research. His calm, practiced tone can't hide the exhaustion in his voice. His thoughts drift back to the outbreak, to the evacuation that tore his life apart. Civilians screamed while soldiers tried to control the crowd. Holding his daughter tightly, Robert pushed through the chaos and helped his family onto a waiting helicopter. He promised he'd find them again before staying behind to fulfill his orders. His daughter handed him Sam to keep him company, and he stepped back as they lifted into the sky. He wakes the next morning in the same silence that has become his only companion. He eats breakfast, watches old news clips, and follows the same strict schedule that keeps him grounded. Later, driving through the empty streets with Sam, he spots something that shouldn't exist. In the middle of the road stands Fred, the mannequin he left inside the music store.
Hey! Hey!
Robert slams the brakes and stares in disbelief. He yells at the figure, demanding to know how it got there, then raises his rifle and fires until the mannequin collapses in pieces. Scanning the buildings, he fires randomly into the windows, hoping to flush something out. Then as he steps closer, a rope trap snaps tight around his leg and hauls him into the air. His head slams against the concrete and his rifle clatters away. When he regains consciousness, the sky is fading from orange to dark gray. His night alarm rings as Sam barks at his upside-down hanging body. Panic drives him to pull out his knife and saw through the rope. He falls hard into a trap, tearing his leg as he hits the ground. Crawling toward his car, he spots the infected leader standing nearby, its dogs straining against their chains, held back by the last rays of sunlight.
Come on. Sam, come on.
The moment the sun disappears, the dogs are released. They charge forward, snarling. Sam leaps between them and Robert, fighting with desperate strength. One dog lunges at Robert, biting his arm. Robert fires, taking it down, but not before Sam is bitten. Later in his lab, he injects her with the serum, whispering for it to work. Her body trembles violently, her fur shedding as her breathing slows. When Robert sees her eyes and teeth, he realizes she has turned. Holding her close, he ends her pain, tears falling as he lets go of his only living companion in this chaos. The next morning, Robert returns to the quiet park. He digs a small grave and lays her gently into the earth. That night, unable to bear the emptiness, he loads his weapons, drives to the seaport, and rigs barrels of gasoline around the area. This time, he knows he may not come back. When darkness falls, the infected swarm toward the flames. Robert grips the wheel and speeds straight into them, mowing down as many as he can. His car crashes into debris and flips violently, trapping him inside. The creatures surround the wreck. Just before they reach him, a bright light floods the scene. Gunfire erupts, scattering the infected, and someone forces open the door and drags him free.
Where do you live?
As he loses consciousness, his mind flashes back to the day of the evacuation. Soldiers shout and civilians scream as helicopters lift off. Robert watches his wife and daughter rise into the sky just before another helicopter spirals out of control and crashes into theirs. Robert wakes suddenly in his own house, confused and weak. Hearing noise in the kitchen, he grabs his gun and moves carefully through the hall. Expecting the infected, he turns the corner and freezes. A woman and a young boy stand there, alive. The woman introduces herself as Anna and the boy as Ethan. For the first time in years, Robert is face to face with living people. They sit together at the table, though he remains tense. Anna explains that she heard his radio broadcast and followed it. She tells him about a survivor community in the mountains, a place she insists is safe. Robert refuses to believe it. To him, the world is empty and beyond saving. He ends the conversation and walks away.
Everybody is dead.
Later, he approaches Anna again, thanking her for rescuing him at the seaport. Still, he refuses to leave New York. His purpose is here, to complete the cure and make the city livable again. He takes her to his lab where an infected patient lies restrained on a table. Its breathing is calm, its condition stable. Anna is stunned as she realizes he may have found the solution.
I've never seen one so still. They're always biting.
As night falls, Robert locks the doors and seals the windows, following the same routine that has kept him alive. Anna speaks again about the safe zone, saying that God showed her the path there in a dream. Before Robert can reply, glass shatters outside and distant screams grow louder. The infected have found them. Robert looks out the window and sees them racing toward the house. He grabs a detonator and triggers the explosives set around the perimeter. The street erupts in fire, destroying several of the attackers, but more come charging. He calls for Anna and Ethan. When he runs upstairs to find them, one of the infected bursts from the shadows and slams into him. He fights back, escapes downstairs, grabs his rifle and shoots, forcing the creature to retreat. He races upstairs again, rifle ready, scanning the hallway. He spots Anna and Ethan hiding under the bed. A creature clings to the ceiling, hissing. He fires and brings it down. Anna and Ethan crawl from their hiding spot as a deep roar shakes the building. The infected call out, summoning the rest. Robert rushes them into the lab and bolts the door behind them. His eyes fall on the restrained patient. Its vital signs are steady, and it has been recovering. The cure appears to be working. Then the walls tremble as the horde crashes inside. Robert yells through the glass, trying to show the infected that he can save them. But the creature slams against the barrier again and again until cracks begin to spread. Knowing the end is near, Robert quickly draws blood from the cured patient and places the vial in Anna's hand. He tells her it is the cure and pushes her and Ethan into a sealed compartment. The infected smashes the glass once more, and it begins to break. Robert pulls the pin from a grenade and waits. The blast engulfs the lab, destroying everything, including himself and the infected. When morning arrives, Anna and Ethan drive through the empty streets until they reach a tall gate guarded by soldiers. After a brief check, the gates open to reveal a thriving settlement where people are rebuilding their lives. Anna steps forward and holds up the vial of blood. Robert's sacrifice has given humanity not only hope, but the chance to begin again. His legend will live on through generations. And with that, the story ends. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more of the best film recaps.